What's up, Scyushi Squad? We back in more Trove, and today we're going to be talking about the St. Qubeslick event. Cube for my birthday. That's an old reference. But anyways, we've got the Qubeslick event for this year, and it's actually pretty good. It's a really good event. You get a lot of different items out of it, or at least you can, depending on the amount of grind time that you want to end up putting into it. There are some aspects that I'm not the biggest fan of with this event, and generally speaking, there are certain aspects that are outright confusing. But that's what today's video is about. We're going to end up showing off all of the mounts and items that you can end up getting out of the event, or out of this year's event. If you want to end up seeing the items from last year's event, you can refer to last year's videos. But generally speaking, we're just going to get right into it. But before we do that, I gotta let you guys know, if you're new to Trove, you can use that sign up link down in the description, and then anything you end up buying out of the cash shop, I make a percentage of that sale. It's an awesome way you can help me with an high cost of living. We got the new Fiery Friends store pack as well, which apparently has a pretty cool Shadowhunter flame costume. I haven't bought it yet, but I'll probably put a video up about it either tomorrow or the day after or something. We'll see. But anyways, the first part of the event is to meet Qubeslick in the hub. So if we end up going to the hub, you see that we just end up going right over here, and then we can interact with Sir Qubeslick, and that's going to end up completing that portion of the event already. And then he wants you to collect St. Qubeslick's 7 spice. So if we actually interact with him, you'll see that he's got a shop. Now, the first time that you end up interacting with him, he does actually have an item called 7 spice, which I've just bought out his entire inventory, right? So you can buy out a bunch of them, but then you will have to end up getting a couple of them like grinded out yourself. So the only areas that end up dropping the 7 spice is Treasure Isles. Now, you might be thinking that a drowned world is just going to be a no-brainer in terms of finding Treasure Isles, but generally speaking, it's usually a lot better to go into U9 or like other Uber worlds, because if I open up my mini map right here, you can see there's that little ship sail steering wheel. I don't know what the heck it's called. I don't care. But that specifically is the Treasure Isles biome. So even though we're in a water world, you know, if I go to the north, that still counts as a, you know, a Peaceful Hills biome, or what, a medieval highlands biome. I mean, even though it's water themed, right? So generally speaking, it's going to end up being a lot better going into primal Uber worlds, just because even this ocean that we're in right now that has no icon whatsoever means that it doesn't really count as anything. However, if I end up going into you know, a higher Uber world, or even just a normal primal world, you'll see that every bit of the ocean, if it's generated, is going to end up being Treasure Isles. So that's going to end up being your best bet. Now, you complete a Treasure Isles dungeon, you open the chest, you end up getting some of the 7 spice. You get more of it by being in a higher Uber world, okay? So anyways, once you end up getting 25 of those, you'll end up getting the Sir Lucky coin, which is something significant for later. Moving on to the next part, he wants you to collect washed tater tots. Now, I don't know why they keep on doing events like this that have to do with the gardening. You know, nobody wants to do the gardening. Like, frankly speaking, ever since they ended up adding gardening 2.0, you know, a year or two ago, it's just, nobody really enjoyed it, myself included. It's really boring. It's really time consuming. But either way, there's washed tater tots that you can buy from Qubeslick for 10k flux each, good lord. Or you can buy Totter Tate from the player market, which are, they're equally expensive. I mean, you can see like the people, when people are selling them in small amounts, they end up selling a lot of them, even though they're cheaper, so it still ends up equaling to an insane amount. But the point is, if you end up buying these, then you could just end up washing the vegetable right here, so long as you end up having them. Or you could get into the gardening and you can end up crafting them yourselves. Once you end up collecting 10 of the washed tater tots, you'll get a Sir Lucky coin. And then the next objective is to craft St. Qubeslick's Delight. So right over here is St. Qubeslick's oven, or his barbecue, and you can craft various food items out of here. So there's going to end up being the St. Qubeslick Delight, which oddly enough, it doesn't say in the description how long these foods last, which is kind of annoying. If I recall correctly, this food item lasts for 15 minutes. and then this other food item, which we'll get into momentarily, lasts for 2 hours. These items are kind of a temporary thing that you're going to end up only using for a very specific portion of the quest, but either way you can end up crafting his first food item. And then he gives you a Sir O Lucky Cubes or Lucky's coin. And then the next part is to obtain a Luck Beast Haunch. Either way. So here's where things end up getting a little bit different. So if you don't know, the way that last year's Qubeslick event ended up working is you basically equip this food item and it's going to allow you to see hidden things. So you're going to end up seeing hidden creatures, you're going to end up seeing hidden treasure chests and stuff. It's really, really cool, actually. But right here, so these are going to end up being the enemies from the previous year. So you can only see them when you end up having the food item equipped. There was another one over here that I accidentally annihilated. Or maybe that Irish Shadow Hunter did. But either way, when you're destroying those enemies, you can end up getting a mount variant of each of those enemies and an ally variant of each of those enemies. However, what's different this year is that in the Neon City or Luminopolis biome, there's going to end up being a different set of dinosaurs. So those ones were kind of weird old T-Rexes, right? But the ones in the Neon and Luminopolis are going to end up being kind of Triceratops ones, and they're going to be appropriately themed towards the event. You can see actually in the bottom right, very tiny text, got a Luck Beast Haunch. So you just have to get one of those off of them, which means that you gotta put the food item and then you gotta go and kill a bunch of them as quickly as possible. And then you'll end up gaining our lucky coin. Next part is to craft the Feast of St. Qubeslick. So this is where the event takes a big slowdown just because of, look at this. So this already, like, you saw how expensive it was, and you'll see how much time it takes to end up doing this portion of the event when you're doing it yourself. But this part, once you'd have 50 of the spice, 30 more washed tater tots, and then the Luck Beast Haunch. The Luck Beast Haunch is easy as heck. It doesn't really matter. But the washed tater tots are going to end up being extremely expensive for your flux, if you're trying to buy them off other players or whatever. And then the Qubeslick 7 spice just takes a long time because you need to continually go through treasure aisles. However, what this portion of the quest is kind of trying to do is, if you ended up rushing to this next portion, get it? It's a food pun. If you ended up going to this next part of the quest, you should still have the effect of the first food item on you, which means that you should be able to end up seeing the hidden chests and the hidden pots of gold that can end up spawning within a treasure aisles dungeon. So as I had mentioned, there's going to end up being these hidden items that you'll see with your food equip, and this is going to be one of them. So obviously it won't normally end up having a aura coming out of it. That's one of the mods that I have, but you'll see these kind of hidden in the bottom of the ocean. Sometimes they'll just be hidden out in the world and stuff like that, and by destroying them, you'll end up getting some Sir O Lucky coins, which again is going to be very, very significant later on in the event. And then otherwise, most, not all, but most of these 3-star dungeons in the treasure aisles, some of them, they'll have more of these Sir O Lucky chests and so on and so forth. But sometimes at the end of the dungeon, the last reward that you're going to be able to get is going to be this bad boy right here, which is the pot of gold, which, we'll get into these in a moment. I'm just kind of explaining that as you're going through the quest line, you should just naturally start to see these things as you're just completing it, right? So anyways, moving on, let's assume that you ended up crafting the food item. The food item, that new food item is going to last a total of 2 hours, as I mentioned, but you'll end up gaining our Sir O Lucky coin. And then it wants you to find some St. Qubeslick's coins, which quite literally is those chests that I had mentioned just 2 seconds ago that are out in the world, out in the treasure aisles and stuff like that. So you just got to go and destroy a bunch of those. More than likely, you'll have the new food item equipped. Just make sure that you equip it to your main class, because you cannot take the food item off and put it onto another character. So just keep that in mind, okay? But anyways, you gotta collect 5 coins, and then you'll end up getting another Suro Lucky coin. And then it wants you to find St. Qubeslick's pot of gold, which, as I mentioned, is going to be this bad boy right here. All you gotta do is interact with it. That'll complete that portion of the quest, which gives you another Suro Lucky coin. And then it wants you to find Suro Lucky at a Unity Shrine. However, at this point, now we can get into the pot of gold and just how important this is going to end up being. Because this is crazy, dude. Like, the amount of items that you can end up crafting out of these is already really, really cool. So basically you can end up getting, you know, dragon coins, bound brilliance, and all this stuff. It's crazy, right? All of them say daily because you may only craft these items once per day, which again bolsters the fact that you want to be constantly grinding Treasure Isle dungeons, because you'll slowly be getting Suro Lucky coins just within the vicinity. And then you'll also get the Sir Qubeslick 7 spice, which is an item that's required in order to craft all of these. Really crazy you know, event that we've got going on right here right now, just because of this. Like, it's cool, but it's not at the same time. Like, what madman is going to be excited about crafting a single dragon coin, you know? But crystalline core, okay, whatever. Most of all, having the option to craft primal paragon cubes. Builder's focus is, it's a little overpriced, but either way, it's nice that there's a method of getting some of these items. But then there's also going to end up being the lucky treasures, and you're going to notice that there's a couple different items in here. So these are going to end up unlocking decoration styles that you can use in your club world. But then there's also going to be all of these other items right here that all end up costing a fragment of luck. Well, how do you end up, what do you do with a fragment of luck? Well, I'll tell you. If I can end up finding, is that a peaceful hill biome? No, it's not. That's Jurassic. Okay. So basically what's going to happen for this part of the quest is you have to have crafted 1 item from the pot of gold, and then you'll notice that you end up getting a temporary buff in the top left-hand corner of your screen. This buff is required in order to see this Suro Lucky NPC, and the game refers to the, you know, finding him at a Unity Shrine, which is the only time the game has ever referred to a 3 Trovian dungeon as a Unity Shrine. Now, the other thing too is that you can only end up finding these event specific ones in Peaceful Hills and in U1 and up in terms of the world difficulty. I haven't been able to find them in earlier portions, and the event kind of refers specifically to Uber worlds. And the crazy thing, as you'll notice with the footage in front of you guys, is that he ends up selling various items. Like, it's not specifically going to end up being the same items. It's basically like Luxian showing up all over the place and just selling a bunch of random portion of items, which incidentally, the Pride Ride that Luxian was selling last weekend for like 250 dragon coins is now being sold in this event for 10 event coins. So yeah, the next part of the quest line wants you to collect 1 of the Luck Beast treasures. So that would include either the dinosaurs that I told you were in the Jurassic Jungle, or the ones that were in the Neon City. And you just have to get 1 of their treasures, which is either the Ally or the Mounts. The funny thing is that for each of the different dinosaurs, there's going to end up being 1 tradable version, and then 1 that you have to basically just grind yourself. And it's pretty brutal, dude. But anyways, before we move on to that, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, what about my food item? Do I constantly have to craft the food item? No, you don't, because when you go to Suro Lucky, you can grab this item right here, and then that's going to end up being the crafting component that you use at the pot of gold luck table, whatever, that you get out of 3-star dungeon and Treasure Isles. And basically, the first and foremost thing that you want to craft is this banner, because this banner is going to end up having the exact same effect as the food item. So long as you have this banner equipped, you can see all of the dinosaurs and stuff. So you don't have to constantly be crafting the food item, right? Now, there is a very broken bug with these banners right now. This was prevalent with the Christmas event as well, because that ended up using banners. The devs seriously need to change this, where basically the event banner itself it's a temporary banner, and because of it, I guess the lines of code are slightly different, where no matter what vanity set you have of the banner, it's going to keep that even when you want to equip it. So what happened to me and so many other people is I had my banner set to hidden, and then I ended up unequipping this event banner, and then guess what? It was sitting in my inventory in one of these slots, and it was completely invisible. So I thought that like just got deleted or something. Like I didn't know where it was. So just make sure that you specifically equip a visual style of the banner if you have it hidden, just so that you can end up finding it again, right? But anyways, after completing the last portion of the quest where you have to find a luck beast treasure, you'll end up getting another Sir O'Lucky coin, obviously. So let's get into what some of the mounts and allies are going to end up being right here. So this is going to end up being one of the mounts. I don't currently have this one yet because it's not tradable, and I just haven't really had the time to grind it out over and over again. But either way, this is going to end up being one of the mounts. And then, of course, there's going to end up being the ally, which is a pretty good one, come to think of it, because it gives 20% crit damage, 25 magic find, which is pretty crazy. And, of course, you can see it's very cute, very adorable. It's just going to end up being a small version of the mount as a variant, which okay, cool. And then there's going to end up being the Little Lucky as a crafted ally that you get out of the pot of gold. So he's going to give you 10 jump, 40 magic find, and you can see he is absolutely horrifying because it's a little pixie leprechaun thing. I don't know, it's just disgusting. And then for the tradable items, now here's the crazy thing is I'm going to tell you guys right now, these are very, very expensive. And or at least they are on PC. The mount alone is like 3 or 4 mil, which just goes to show that that means that it's extremely rare. Okay, so don't say I don't do anything for you guys. I ended up buying it just so that I could show you guys because I was grinding it out, but I just couldn't get it in time for this video. But either way, this is going to end up being the gold variant of the mount, which extremely rare. You know, the fact that, like I said, it's so expensive means that people are having a very hard time getting it. But I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of it, frankly speaking. And then there's going to end up being the ally variant of it, which gives 45 to magic damage and physical damage, 50 magic find as well. So if we end up taking a look, the ally looks adorable. I really like the ally. I don't really like the mount as much. But that's just me. And then, of course, as I mentioned, there's going to end up being the other mounts. Well, anyways, there's going to be the Little Luck Beast, which gives 150 magic find, which is crazy, and 10% to your crit hit. Why won't the vanity version of this work? What is happening to my game right now? Oh, Trove actually DC'd. What the heck? Okay. All right, let's try that again. So this is going to end up being the ally, which looks adorable. And then this is going to end up being the mount, or at least one of them, which I absolutely love this guy. So these are the ones that you end up getting out of the T-Rexes in the Jurassic. And then there's going to end up being the other ally, which is 3 flask capacity, 15% magic damage. And then there's going to end up being the Flux Beast itself, which is going to end up being equally stupid. I really like the T-Rexes. I think that these things look adorable, whereas the Triceratops, it's just, I don't know, they're a bit too serious, you know, like these guys look dopey, and that's what I like about them. But either way, that's going to end up being primarily it for the event. So hopefully you ended up finding this video helpful, yeah, smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have yourselves a wonderful day.